Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. And I'm so glad that you're here, whether you're watching us here live tonight, Wednesday, every Wednesday at 7 o'clock on Facebook and various LinkedIn and YouTubes, or if you're listening to us on the podcast, or if you're listening to us on, all right,
WDJY FM 99.1 in Atlanta.
On Thursday nights at 9 o'clock. We're
Right.
really glad you decided to join our audience. If we didn't have you, we wouldn't have a show.
That's right.
And our audience is the best. I know I've said it before, but we have some of the most intelligent, funny, caring people in our audience that I've ever heard of. We're really blessed. And we have a bunch of people already. Bill Nelson here.
Hey, Bill.
Checking in. Hi,
How's
Bill.
Texas these days?
Cold, probably cold like Florida.
Cold and rainy and windy.
Chris Chrisman. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Hi, Chris.
Says, good evening, Rob and Joan. Hello, George. Hi, Paul. You have to say hi to Hannah, too. Our granddaughter is a marketing expert, and she has her own company, and she's going to be talking to us about marketing.
All right, she'll be here shortly.
And Chris Chrisman says, hello to all of us again. Joe Conchel says, good evening, Rob and Joan. Happy holidays to all. Same to you.
Hi, Joe.
And also, guess what? On our next Haunted
Tales.
Haunted Campfire Tales.
We got to change the name of that.
Or I need to learn the name.
Give it a
Of our
one-word name.
podcast.
Just Haunted.
Anyway, Joe, you asked about Christmas spirits, and I researched it. And guess what? There are spirits just associated with Christmas. And so we'll be able to talk about that next
Thursday.
a week from Thursday.
7:30,
Yeah.
right here. Nature and Christmas Spirits.
Chris Christmas said, you guys are everywhere.
Well, so are you. You're coming in on Facebook and on YouTube or whatever. Yeah.
Michael Jacoba says, okay, George, I found it. Hiya. Hi, George.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Michael. Glad you're here. Chris Christmas says, hi, Hannah. You'll get to meet her in a minute. And he said, you need cue cards, Joan. I know. I wish I could afford somebody to just stand here and hold up cue cards for me, but all right. Joe says, oh, cool. Looking forward to it. Yeah, it's found out so much interesting stuff about that, Joe. So I'm glad you asked about it. Joy York says, hi, all.
Hi, Joy.
Paul Rushworth Brown says, hi
Hey.
from Sydney. Hi, Paul. Was thinking about
From
you
down
today.
under. How are you, Paul?
Yep. You're celebrating in the heat, and we're up here in the cold.
It's winter there. No, it isn't.
It's summer there.
First day of
winter
summer.
here.
Oh boy, excuse me. Hey, we're eating into our time. All
right.
Let's roll on here. Episode Rewind this coming Saturday is Regina Noel Downing. That's 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. Meet the Author live next week is going to be Pamela Nichols. That's 7 o'clock right here. It's a live show. Haunted Campfire Tales podcast will be next Thursday, Nature and Christmas Spirits, like we were talking about. That's at 7:30 p.m.
That's on the 28th
Eastern time.
after
28th.
Christmas.
Right. And then tomorrow night, we'd appreciate if you could all tune in to www.wdjyfm.com and listen at 9 o'clock Eastern time here in the U.S. To our show. That's I think it's our third show, but they're going to be watching the analytics on that, and the more people we have watch, the more interest the sponsors will have in continuing to sponsor the show. Irish author Angela Byrne is going to be on that show. It's a good show too, so if you can tune in and support that, that'd be awesome. It's raining in Sydney, it looks like.
As Paul says.
Yeah.
And that we could use our phone as a cue card.
There you go.
And look at Marjorie Deering. Hi,
Hey,
Marjorie. Glad you're here.
A minute late.
That's okay. Well, All right.
let's
We actually have to be on time now that we're on FM radio.
So let's bring our folks in here. First, we'll bring in Hannah.
Hi, Hannah.
Welcome.
Hi.
And
this is our granddaughter.
George. Hi, George.
Hi, George.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
And here's Paul. Hi, Paul.
Hi, everybody.
Okay.
How are you all
what
doing?
a crew we have here.
Oh, look at who's here.
Becca and
Lonnie, Becca. Lonnie and Becca. Becca's my other daughter.
That's right.
My adopted
daughter.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's the first day of winter here.
Becca says hello. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is okay.
All right. So, Hannah,
Yes.
why don't you tell people what you do, what your company is about, and, that sort of stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So first of all, thank you for having me on your podcast.
You're welcome.
So my company is the Grow Getters Marketing. So we're a digital marketing agency. And I know that term is very broad. But what we do is we focus on using social media to build communities for people, for business owners specifically. Sorry, did you say something?
No.
Okay.
I think there's some feedback.
Okay, there's some feedback. So we use social media to build online communities and kind of help businesses build trust and build credibility with their consumers. And then that in turn eventually helps them generate revenue for their businesses as well.
And would that be something that authors could benefit from?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any kind of business, any kind of organization, public figure can use social media to build communities.
Okay. And explain what you mean by building communities. You mean like a network of people that...
Yeah. So building like an audience, building a following of people who are interested in what you have to say.
Exactly. And you want to explain to people a little bit about what algorithms are and how important they are in digital marketing today?
Yeah, definitely. So, obviously with the platforms, there are different algorithms that are honestly consistently changing. So like, for example, Facebook is always changing their algorithms. They're always changing the structure of the platform. So it's important to always be educated on things that are changing within the app and all of that. So like one thing that you can kind of keep in mind with Facebook is, optimal posting times. So ideally, if you post between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m., those are like the most optimal times of the day. So that's kind of one way that you can stay ahead of the algorithm. Another way that you can stay ahead of the algorithm with any platform is hashtags. I think a lot of people, they forget to use hashtags. They don't understand the importance of them, but that's how people find you organically on social media. And that's how you can grow your following organically, is with using the right hashtags.
Okay, what does organically mean?
Yeah.
I mean, are they going to just... I know I don't go in and go hashtag such and such to find somebody.
Yeah.
How does that work?
So organic means that it's not paid. So you're not running any ads. You're just posting organically. You're not putting any money into it. It's just what you post on the platform.
I thought it was without fertilizer.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I said that too.
Yeah. And the thing about organic is when you use hashtags, of course, you're not always going in and clicking on different hashtags and seeing what comes up, but the algorithm uses those hashtags to kind of like categorize your content. So for example, since I'm a social media agency, I'll do hashtag social media agency. And let's say somebody likes to see, social media tips, then I would be categorized under that sort of content. So I would come up if somebody was looking for something like that.
So really what it is a way for when people Google or search or use a search engine, okay, any hashtags that you use, that is going to organically bring you up to the top where they will find you and what you're all about. Anyway, that's my understanding, and that's what we do.
Right.
All right. Chris Chrisman said, Hannah, what all different social media platforms do you use? Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, etc.
So for me personally, because I am a business to business organization, I focus on LinkedIn. And then I also focus on Instagram because obviously, like, I am a social media agency. So people like to see my graphics. They like to see kind of like the visual content that I come up with. So I also am very much, I'm very active on Instagram. But I would say for maybe authors specifically, platforms that you might want to focus on would be Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok are kind of like the most commonly used. But it all depends really on your target audience and who it is that you're speaking to, who you're trying to reach.
Believe it or not, Hannah, LinkedIn is a big one for authors.
I'm sure LinkedIn as
really
well.
Is. Mm-hmm. And Joe Conjal says, hi, Hannah, is there any one social media site that's better than another for marketing?
Is there any one platform that's better than the other? I think based on my experience, Facebook is still the number one used.
Hannah, as a writer and an author, if I come to you and say, I want you to help me build my business, what services specifically do you offer?
So I actually offer a pretty wide variety of services. While my focus is social media, I have a really strong background in digital marketing. So I kind of come up with a strategy for each client based on their needs and their objectives and who they're trying to reach. So I offer website design, I offer email marketing, I offer paid advertising. If somebody does want to run those paid ads, I can do that. And also local SEO, so helping you reach people through Google and search engines. I do that as well.
That's important. The SEOs are really
okay.
important.
And you have different packages, so you can tailor it to the person's needs and budgets.
Exactly.
So Lonnie and Becca are wondering, how about Twitter?
So Twitter, I honestly have in my entire career, I have really only used it for one business, and that was a bigger brand. They already had a large following. They already had it well established. So they had people who were interested in interacting with their content. I do think it's, I think that it's better to focus on the platforms that already have a larger, broader audience on them. Like that's why Facebook and Instagram are usually the go-to for social media marketers, because that's where everybody is. So if you're going to have the chance of reaching a larger audience, why don't you use those platforms?
I understand right now TikTok is really hot.
Yeah, I honestly don't even use it.
I know you don't, but
we don't either.
We don't either, but I understand that it's, there's a lot of traction on there.
It is. It's definitely, I mean, so many people are on it. I actually heard something about it being the second search engine after Google is TikTok. So that says something.
But the main thing is to have a lot of hashtags.
Yeah.
As many as you can that can describe what you're trying to attract the people that you want to sell your product.
Definitely. And there's also there's a hashtag strategy. So it's not really just using random hashtags according to your industry, but it's also, there's certain platforms that you can use to search what are the trending hashtags and what are the ones that people are using to identify you. So I use a few, like one is there's a website called All Hashtag, and you can search based on your industry. I usually do, search one term and then it'll come up with a bunch of hashtags that is recommended for you to use.
So you can just copy and paste those in there.
Yeah, pretty much. But you want to make sure that it's
relevant.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And you don't want to overwhelm people in the post with hashtags either.
Definitely. And also for like local, this is not as much for authors, but more so for business owners. If you're trying to, drive traffic locally, doing like local hashtags. So geographical ones like hashtag Tampa, Florida, hashtag Lutz, Florida, whatever area you're in, adding that location in there helps too.
Now, one thing I have noticed that a lot of indie authors do, they'll make a post, but they won't put a link in that'll directly connect them to their product, to their book.
They need to do that.
There's no point in that.
They need
Don't
to
even
do that.
bother,
Don't put the post unless people are going to be able to reach you.
Put a link in there to sell your book. I mean, if you have your book on Amazon, advertise the book and put the link in there. Where can they go to get it?
Absolutely.
Because they're not going to go looking for it.
Right.
They're going to be one click, and if it's not there, they're gone.
Yeah.
I guarantee that.
Joe Conchal says, I noticed that I'll get a lot more hits in a Facebook listing if I use a lot of hashtags. If I use only a few, I don't see as much traffic. Yeah.
Yeah. I did
also
that on LinkedIn too.
Mm-hmm. And for Amazon, I know that their algorithms are changing constantly. It's really hard to keep up with what they are doing. Joy York says, you are absolutely correct. Make it easy. Yeah.
Definitely.
And Joe Conjal says, I add my links. Yeah, well, that just makes sense.
Yeah. So one thing about the links is I will say certain platforms like Facebook, for example, if you post a link, they will minimize your reach. So sometimes if you put a link in your post and you're directing somebody outside of the platform, Facebook doesn't like that. They want people to stay on the platform. So that is something.
What's the solution there? I mean, they've got to be able to get to your product.
So just a call to action. So like call to action, link in bio. So usually you can have the link to your product or your website or, wherever you're trying to drive traffic in your bio, and people can go there and access it.
Okay, that's interesting. So they actually do that. They minimize your reach. Wow.
Yeah.
How rude.
Yeah.
Well, aren't you important to have on the show?
I know. I may be changing the way I'm doing things.
Thank you, Hannah.
Of course.
Oh my gosh. So Michael says a lot of Central and South America are using WhatsApp. Are you looking to expand that way?
That is such an interesting question. So I have a lot of people ask me about WhatsApp. I've only ever used it for communication, and I've heard that it's a very great way to connect with people who are international. I'm definitely always looking to expand my wheelhouse and learn new things. So I'm interested to see kind of what features WhatsApp continues to add. So yeah, I'll definitely just have to make sure I'm following the trends with that one.
So anyway, Genevieve, our dear friend, says hello and says she misses us. We miss you too.
My goodness.
We will have to chat later, not on the show.
We're coming to Pennsylvania in June.
And Joe Conjal said, that's how Instagram is set up. I have to direct folks to my bio to click the link to my books. Well, there you go.
Yep.
Okay.
That's really good. Let me put up where people can reach you, Hannah.
Because we're going to have to take our first break here shortly.
So
there she is.
Lost it. Okay.
On Instagram. You can connect with Hannah on Instagram at Grow Getters Marketing. That's GrowGetters Marketing. I spell that for the folks that are just listening. at Grow Getters Marketing. And then her email is pretty much the same thing, the Grow Getters LLC at gmail.com.
And also, we'll have all her information up on our indie book source so that you can reach her.
Right.
You know, and she can let you know about her different packages and stuff if anyone's interested.
Right. Okay.
And Chris Christmas says, thanks, Joe Conjol author. I didn't know that. All right.
All right. Any little other gems of wisdom before we cut for our first break?
I would say just make sure that you know who you're talking to, know your audience, and make sure to be authentic, because people, they can see right through the fake stuff.
That's
for sure,
that's
right?
really 100% accurate. It really is. That's why I think that's why this people like this show, because everybody on here is authentic.
Yeah.
All our authors are. Nobody's trying to be something they're not.
We don't polish it up.
No, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Okay, we're going to cut for a break here. Here, a little word from our sponsors, and we'll be back. Don't go away, folks. We'll come right back, and we'll talk with George DISMUKES.
The clock is ticking. Can Gracie uncover the truth?
Philip Pliant is the wealthy opportunist plastics dealer and CEO of Pliant Industries. He's also a master thief, creating a pervasive threat to the manufacturing infrastructure in the Caribbean islands markets. With the cartel as his stealth client, the naive city leaders have been seduced, enabling the production of more than three-dimensional building materials.
The expected profits are monstrous.
Is the art group, now led by Gracie and the family heirs, strong enough to win against this predator?
Can JJ's cats act on the root cause analysis in time?
Will Gracie be able to squash Pliant and the cartels?
Gracie never considered their lives would hang in the balance. The clock is ticking. 5, 4, 3.
It's every parent's worst nightmare. Police officer Madison Jackson awakes to discover her baby kidnapped from her crib. Was it revenge for someone she arrested, or something far more sinister? Madison's estranged husband is incarcerated in Supermax. As the second in command of a deadly Mexican cartel, did he issue the order to abduct their daughter? Bye, Baby, Bye, from author Kelly Marshall. Get your copy today.
Many secrets are hidden within the darkness of the jungle. Now comes part 4 in the Jaguar series by retired Hollywood scriptwriter George DISMUKES. In this saga, Brandon, Andrea, and Naja, the Black Jaguar, go deep into the Mato Grosso jungle on a mission to rescue 2 kidnapped children. During their journey, they encounter many dangers, including Yanomami Indians, bent on revenge for the murder of one of their warriors.
Return of the Jaguar is book 4 in the Jaguar series, starting with 2 Faces of the Jaguar, The Lost City, and the Jaguar's Quest. All 4 are available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other bookseller websites worldwide. Return of the Jaguar is a must-read.
Wow.
We're back.
George, that brings us right to you. That's your latest book.
Yep, that's number 4 in the series. Unfortunately, it's going to be the last one for a while because I got to turn my attention to another project, which is, Siren Song, the movie. As you know, we were on a good track and hit a bump in the road. Now we've got to regroup, and especially with this thing that happened in Hollywood, because all of the rates have changed for the actors. So I got to completely rebuild the budget, which is about a 30-day job.
Oh, I didn't think of that, but yeah, all the prices went up.
And then redo the pro forma. We'll get there because we now have somebody that's very genuinely interested and has the power to do something about it. So I'm very positive about us getting this thing done. Meanwhile, Return of the Jaguar is is number 4 in a series that it involves Brandon Shaw, Andrea Granger, and Naja the Black Jaguar. First one takes place in Honduras, and part of this one takes place in Honduras too. They live on the North Coast, and the series really started off well. It wasn't intended as a series, but what happens with authors and their books is this. You create characters, okay? And then your characters come to life, come off of the pages and tell you to get off your rump and write the next book. You don't have any choice. See, that's kind of what happens. With this book, I'm proud to say that I recruited the help of Paul HOLLIS, who is starting his publishing company. And I got to tell you, people, right now, okay, and Paul didn't know I'm going to say this, but this guy comes from the heart. And he works like I don't know what to get your book published and get it done right. So there's a plug for you, Paul.
Thank you.
Anyway, in book 4, they're not in Honduras most of the time. They have to go into the Mato Grosso jungle of Brazil, trying to rescue a politician's children that have been kidnapped for political purposes. And in fact, if you like, I can read one page from the book. Which
that'd be great. Let's do that.
Let me set the scene for this. They're deep in the jungle, exhausted. They've had their first night to sling hammocks and try to get some rest. And this is how they wake up. See if I can see this. Sometime in pre-dawn, the tree frogs became silent, but it had been a long night. Excuse me. Oppressive heat had usurped the ability to sleep until finally exhaustion gracefully took the team into the, I'm having trouble seeing this, into the blackness of rest. Even Naja, the black jaguar, lost some of her abilities, keen insight, and jungle instincts to domesticity. Okay, wait a minute. I'm trying to read this thing. The printer didn't do a very good job. And allowed her to fall deeply into slumber. Therefore, when at last Andrea swam back to consciousness, it was a rude surprise. Oh my God, she said it as she eyes focused. I'm sorry, this print is, I'm probably going to have to put it away.
Okay. That's okay. No problem.
It sounds good, though.
It does.
Well,
I've read the first good portion of it, actually.
Yep, we have. We know it's good.
Well, here, let me. This part here is a little bit better.
Okay.
Somewhere in the distance, Brendan heard Andrea's voice. It was soft, but something in it made him abandon his Laurelwood dream and swim up to the surface of consciousness. When he opened his eyes, it was not Andrea that he saw, but instead the stern face of a dark-skinned, tattooed man with black eyes and the bamboo skewer through his nose. Staring at him from the, oh, this is terrible. I don't read like this. It's just staring at him from 3 feet away. Poking into the mosquito netting was the point of a spear, inches from Brandon's throat. Now that Brandon was awakened, the man said something to him, but it was in a language that Brandon did not understand. I don't understand. Does anybody know what this guy's talking about? He says he's going to kill us, Andrea said softly. Oh, that is not a good way to start the day. Or a conversation, Brenda said.
That is not a good way to start the day.
Started to feel around for his pistol. As Brandon's head cleared, he realized there were at least 10 other, or 24 more Indians scattered around throughout the camp. They were barely 5 feet tall, nude from the waist up. They were tattooed and had bamboo tubes or skewers through the noses and on the chin. I'm going to jump down here. Their printing is really bad. Anyway, it goes on to say, looking deadly serious, there was no doubt he would kill immediately if given an order. Anyway, Brandon asked her if this is if she knows how to speak this guy's language, and she said yes. And he said that would be a good time to start. So, I'm sorry, the printing is really faded, so I didn't take a good look at it before the show. I should have done that. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That's
okay. We got a good idea.
The point is they're deep in the jungle and they're running this group of Yanomami Indians who ain't very happy because somebody has killed one of their warriors. They want to find out who, and then they want to do the same thing to them that they did to the warrior. So that's one of the problems they encounter, but only one.
That's a big problem because they are wondering if they killed their warrior. So yeah,
you're in their territory, and there's more of them than there is of you.
So this wraps up a 4-book series, basically. Or do you think it's going to continue maybe after you get over the hump here with the movie?
There are many more books inside of me. How many I'll get a chance to write, But I have an obligation to investors to get this movie done.
Yes.
So I'm gonna have to park my writing, and I love to write. That's my passion.
You do.
And normally I read a lot better than I did there, but I don't know. I'm gonna, as soon as we get the first movie done, I have a feeling we're going to go into it because that I like Two Faces of the Jaguar. Siren Song is also a series. It's a 3-book series, and in fact, if you look on the wall behind you, there my wife's picture is on the cover of the 3rd book. Yeah, that's Nadine. So
that's the Siren Hunter.
The Siren Hunter is the 3rd one. So the chances are we'll go from movie 1 to movie 2. Now, whether or not I'll do it or we'll just sell the whole package and get out of it, a lot of things will go into making that decision.
Now, the Jaguar series, can people jump into it on book 3 or book 4, or do you recommend they start at the beginning at number 1?
I recommend you start at the beginning on both series.
Okay. Because it'll build.
Because otherwise, you're gonna, it's just you're not gonna know what's going on. Because the way the books are written, each one of them manages to refer to the things that happened in the previous book.
Well, I know that the Jaguar series is a very popular series. Yes. So I think the demand will be on for a book 5, but we understand you need to get your movies out of the way first.
Absolutely.
But I'm thinking that this is only going to make people more anxious for book 5 once they see Naja et al. Back at work. Joe Conjal says, "Hi, George. Did you send your book to movie agents or did they come to you?"
I used to work in Hollywood. This is going to be an independent production because there's not a whole lot about Hollywood that I can say that's good. Especially whenever it comes to issues of money and paying people, what they deserve for their movies.
Yeah.
I do have some investors that have already put some money up. I have an obligation to those investors, and I feel that obligation very strongly. We hit a real bad bump in the road here last year, and some people might have quit, but I'm the hardest headed old codger you ever saw in your life, and I'm not about it.
Okay.
And it's a good thing I didn't, because now, like I say, I've got some good people that are pushing me to go forward with this.
Good. Good.
And let me tell you, he's determined to, because I was not ever going to eat oysters, but guess what? George has me eating oysters, and now I'm addicted to oysters. So I'm pretty sure George can get done whatever he needs to get done. Just saying.
There you go.
That's right.
So
which kind did you like best, on the half shell or hot-blooded oysters?
You know, I really, really love the oysters Rockefeller.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I love those, but I like them all. I would eat any kind now, except raw. I wouldn't eat them raw.
Listen to that lady.
I know. I was never going to have an oyster.
You've got pecan brittle on the way. Where do you get that? I want to make you another addict.
There you go. I think you sent some last year.
And the year before,
And
so
the year
we're
before.
already
So
addicts.
we're waiting.
We've got to.
That's our yearly tradition.
It is.
To get to George's books, you can find them on Amazon. You can just Google him, just search there, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Smashwords.
Anywhere books are sold.
Anywhere books are sold, basically. His website would be at indiebooksource.com /books-by-George-Dismukes. You can find him there. They're all there with the links. And then his email is mayanart@yahoo.com. That's capital M-A, or it's MAYANARTINTL@yahoo.com. It doesn't have to be capitalized. It can be capitalized. Doesn't matter. It's not case sensitive. So you can email him and ask him questions or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And you can find all of his books on Amazon, and go to his author's page and find all those links. Okay. Oh, Marjorie Daring says old codgers are the best codgers.
Well, that's good news.
We've had a lot of practice of being codgers.
There you go.
A lot of us are heading into that, or already there. What am I talking
into it.
What are you trying to say?
How much further in can we get without being out of the picture completely?
Well, that's true.
Yeah, I know. Unless I'm going to be like 130 or something.
There you go. Yeah, we're having a midlife crisis.
Michael says it may be advantageous to use hashtag George Dismukes. There you go.
There you go. Thank you. Appreciate it, Michael. By the way, Michael is the voice that you've heard on the commercial a while ago.
Oh, good job, Michael.
He did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
If I do write a book 5, I'll definitely want him to voice a commercial for it too.
There you go.
Paul Rushworth Brown said, "Love you, Robin Joan." We love you too, Paul.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Any other words of wisdom there, George, before we cut for our last break here?
Words of wisdom. Write
Texas.
from the heart. Do not try to write about anything that you don't know about, because if you do, you're going to wade off into deep water. But always write from the heart. And I will tell you this, no matter what you write, your characters are going to come to life at some point and become a part of your life. I've got one character that is in all of the Jaguar books except the last one. His name is DDA. He owns a hotel deep in the jungle, the Mosquito jungle.
Yeah.
I would give anything to be able to sit down and have a cold beer with him and talk it over. But he's that real to me. He's also my favorite character. Everybody says, "Well, why didn't Brandon your favorite character?" Well, because DDA is.
Yeah, there you go. That's that simple.
It's so funny, isn't it? Because like we have 2 lead protagonists in our book, Yet one of the secondary characters in our series is my favorite.
Yeah.
And it should, you would think it would be our protagonist, but I really, really like one of our secondary characters a lot.
And do your characters come off of the page?
Oh
my
yeah.
Gosh.
Yep.
They woke me up one of ours,
in
our
our new book.
antagonist. He was he's an
Well,
antagonist.
mine keeps getting in my icebox to get my beer.
No, there's no call. That's uncalled for. I wouldn't.
Yeah, ours just they take over, man. It's like you're not in charge of your book anymore. You're like, we're going this way, and we're like, well, we want.
They will tell you where to go. If you're having trouble trying to figure out the plot, and you hit a wall, your character will tell you where to go. Just listen to them.
Chris Christman says side characters are sometimes better.
Yeah,
LOL.
I do. I like her whole personality and everything. Rachel, that's who I like.
Well, speaking of beer, I think it's time for a word from our sponsors. We don't have any beer companies, but we'll go with the next. It's a 4-letter word. It begins with B, and it's called book. So here we go. Don't go away.
We'll be right back.
Come back, and we're
going to
talking
talk
with Paul Hollis.
An unforgettable mystery thriller that will transport you back to 17th century England. Introducing Dream of Courage, facing fear head-on, your passport to 17th century mystery, mayhem, and murder. Follow Robert and John Rushworth through Leeds' bustling Brigade District, where danger lurks in the shadows, embodied by the thief-taker Jacob Wilding. You will laugh, you will cry, and be in awe of the twists and turns. Its meticulous attention to character development, emotional nuance, and the unfolding of the story's layers promise a compelling and emotionally charged journey. The U.S. National Times said, "Modern writers usually don't know what it was like to live in the past, but Rushworth Brown does this with great skill." Uncover the secrets of Smythe, the enigmatic tavern keeper who sends Robert to the Haven, to the pirate Captain Girlington. Will he outwit danger in the nick of time?
Paradise, my prison. Charlie Flint awakens from a deep sleep and finds himself alone on a tropical beach surrounded by a palm tree jungle and exotic animals. He cannot remember who he is or anything about his life. First, he must find food and build shelter and protect himself from hidden dangers. As his memory gradually returns, it reveals what a very flawed person he is. A man who made too many mistakes, made too many enemies. The implications of the truth are staggering. How did Charlie get there? And will he save himself? Paradise, My Prison is the riveting new suspense thriller from retired Hollywood scriptwriter George DISMUKES. Paradise, My Prison by George DISMUKES is available in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats worldwide.
It's 1919, and Eric Laska returns from the war in Europe. 2 new enemies await him in the small coal mining town he calls home. One is a threat to his relationship with Rebecca, the love of his life. The other, a bloodthirsty beast, is stalking the mining town residents. The townspeople suspect Eric of one of the killings. An old man and Rebecca's 11-year-old sister have seen the beast, but only Eric believes their story. To protect the town and clear his name, he's forced to prove the werewolf exists. Available on Amazon. The Horror Within by Marjorie Swift Doring.
And we're back.
We are.
We have a couple of comments. Becca said, I cried when one of my characters died. I cried when that character died too, by the way, Becca. I didn't know that would happen until I wrote it. And Paul Rushworth Brown said, that's uncivilized, write him out. Talking about your guy waking you up the other night.
No, I think he was talking about the beer out of the freezer.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's probably what he was talking about. Okay, Paul,
Hey,
how
Paul.
are you? How has
It's
publishing been? Are we having fun yet?
Yeah, actually we are. I got into this a few months ago because I've honestly learned a lot from a lot of people over my career as a writer, my probably my 6th or 8th career. But what I wanted to do is actually take people's books, get them to write them, which is in the end, believe it or not, the easy part of the rest of their life, because then the trouble starts, because then it's getting the right cover you want, and then it's getting it edited right the right way and properly, and editors, I know a lot of people edit themselves, which is a good thing to start with, but believe me, if and I've learned this the hard way as well, if you have an outsider basically edit your book for you, it takes it to the next level, right? So then now you've become a better writer without any work on your part, right? Basically, because your work is there, and then all they do is they find the inconsistencies maybe in the other than the spelling errors and the grammar and all that, but you find inconsistencies, and it depends on how much you want edited, right? Because you don't want your voice destroyed, right? Because you're telling the story, and that's your voice, right? And so it's very easy as an editor to do that, right? So I've actually instructed all my editors to don't touch anything that has to do with the voice, and that's not just dialogue, because and dialogue is one thing, because you don't, even if it's misspelled in the dialogue, that may be what the author wants, and you'd have to ask them about that, So, but it's slang and all those kinds of things, that all fits into the characterization of the characters themselves. So, don't change that at all. That's my belief. And so, and it goes all the way up to like the top level where you actually are looking for holes in the plot, and things don't line up, and timelines are different, and this and that, sort of thing. So and it's the author's choice as to how far they want to go up with that, and could stay really at the line editing, which is perfectly fine, and there's nothing wrong with that. So you've got that to worry with, and then you've got to worry about, how do I get the darn thing published, and then where do I get it distributed to? And then do I want an audiobook to go with that? So there's a whole lot. And then as Hannah is saying, you need marketing after that. To somebody to say, hey, look at this guy, look at this girl. They got a great business here, and you should go and buy from them, right? And so if you try to do all of those things yourself, it's a full-time job, and you never will get to writing the sequel to that first book. So what I'm trying to do is just to take some of that pain off of the authors, and just say, let somebody, let me do this, because I can do it. I've done it. I've published basically 100 books for people for free. So why don't I just get a couple of dollars for it anyways? And but I've done all those things. I've made all the mistakes that you're going to make if you do it yourself. I've made them all, and I know how to correct them now. And I've dealt with the distributors, really, because a lot of people think that Amazon is a publisher, but in reality, they're just a distributor of your book, and you have to get it to them. And it's the same with Ingram Sparks and Book Baby and the whole, all the rest of them. They're really just distributors, and some do a better job than others, by the way. I understand now that Ingram Spark actually distributes to more places than Amazon does.
Yes,
right?
They do.
Yeah,
right.
They do.
So
they're a good distributor.
So there's lots of choices that you have to make then as an author. And I know my own experience is like, leave me alone. I just want to write my book here, right? So
yeah.
So I've just been trying to help people as I'm writing it myself. I'm trying to help people to get to the point where at least that they're past the heartache of not being able to see their work in a public place, right? And I want them to say, look, this is me, this is my book, this is my baby right here, right? And that's what they deserve, from working so hard for writing a book, whether it took them 2 months or 2 years or 10 years to write the book. That this is something that they have focused on and have gone to do, right? I mean, I have understood that maybe 90% of the people that we know have a book inside them that they want to write it, but yet maybe 10% do, and probably 2% do it well, right? But anyway, the 10% that do it, they deserve to have that come to fruition, to say, look, this is my book, read it, you're gonna like it, right? And like Hannah says, if you find the right audience, then that's all you need, right? That you've got your book to the right audience. If you're selling to the wrong audience, then they're not gonna like it. So,
well, Paul Rushworth Brown says Paul's a legend. And Chris Chrisman says, I highly recommend Paul Hollis Company for editing. I just used him. Fast turnaround for line editing. So he enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And then Chris
Thank you, Chris.
says, Paul Hollis, do you have a company website yet? So
it is coming. It should be live by the first of the year. I've had a few problems with people taking some holidays off. I can't believe that, right? So, anyways, but that will be there. But my email is good. You can catch me at Paul at hollowmanpublishing.com there, or my other 15.
So here's Paul's email. Paul at hollowmanpublishing.com.
That is active now. That email. It's a good email.
Okay. So Hollowman is HOLLOWMAN publishing.com. And Paul's website will be active. We're thinking January 1st, maybe?
I'm hoping so, yeah. Right around that time.
Okay. And that will be the hollowmanseries.com.
That's the one that he's got now.
That's the one you've got now. And then you will be coming out with hollowmanpublishing.com.
On January 1st.
On January 1st.
Right.
And that's where you can reach Paul. I just wanted to get those up there before.
Thank you. So to make the long story short, I do have we've published a couple of books already. One including one book of poetry and that, but and then George is here, and we're just kind of getting George's into the right places right now. So, but I've got him. I'm on him, so he's not getting away from me. But I have probably five books in editing right now. Probably another 4 or 5 that are waiting to be published. Or it's waiting to be edited, kind of thing. I've got a couple of websites that that I've set up for people as well. And so, there's whatever you want, ask me, and I'll figure it out, or we'll get an answer. I'll send you to Hannah here. So,
everybody can use Hannah.
Yeah.
Joe Concha said, hi, Paul. Do you also help with repackaging a current series, or do you prefer books that haven't been previously published?
No, actually, the good question, Joe. I actually think that relaunching books is a kind of a good thing. I'm actually thinking about doing that for my own self, because some of my books have been around for a while. But I think after a while, people stop noticing them, right? And so if it's been around 4 or 5 years, even 10 years, like one of mine, a relaunch would be, maybe a new cover, maybe a new title, whatever, something just even unnoticeable. Put it back out there in the limelight and get it back under for example, Amazon's algorithms, which are always changing anyway, but get it under those things, and people, and just get it back into the public eye to say, hey, look, remember me? And people are going to say, oh yeah, I've been meaning to read that book, right? So I'm going to get it now, right? So this is a good time. Oh man, look at this great cover now, right? Or whatever, right? So yeah, no. So I hold both in equal esteem, Joe, and both of them are have their own focus and end goal in sight, So yeah, please think about it if you're old. And I've actually found a tool that will help me analyze books, and this tool will tell you like percentages of passive verbs and it's like capitalization errors and all these kind of things. And anybody who wants that, I give away for free. Just give them a free, and it's a pretty like 5-10 pages long of statistics and it doesn't point out specifically like on page 10 you have this or something like that, because it's just an analysis kind of thing. But it has a bunch of things. I haven't looked at it in a couple of days, but it's got a ton of information on it. I think it's for free. It would be great for anybody to be able to look and say, oh, maybe I do use repetitive words a lot or something like that, so kind of thing. So
there you go.
Yeah,
well,
we all
we're kind of running short on time here. I did want to mention Paul's latest book is Surviving Prague. You want to check that out. It's his third book, right?
Yeah, it is.
And it's really good. So want to point people in that direction.
We're going to have you all back.
Yeah, this has been really good.
It's been really good, and the time is short now that we have to format it for an FM radio station.
Yeah, darn it. So we're going to move you guys over to the side now. Paul, I thank you. George, thank you. And Hannah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you all being here and sharing with us. And move you over to the side. Whoop, just like that. Everybody, tomorrow night, if you can, if you're able to, go to www.wdjyfm.com. That's tomorrow night, the 21st of December, 9 o'clock Eastern time here in the U.S. Irish author Angela Byrne. They're going to be looking at those algorithms and those numbers, analytics also. So that'll help the show.
It'll help us get syndicated.
Yes. A couple more comments here. Looks like Michael says, great show.
Thank you, Michael.
Marjorie says the hour really flew by. Thank you all.
Marjorie.
Thank you, Marjorie. Joe says, really enjoyed tonight. Learned a lot from everyone. Thank you, Hannah, George, Paul, and Robin Joan.
Yeah, did learn a lot.
And Joy said lots of great information.
There was. Tonight was great, you guys. Thank you so much, Hannah, George, and Paul. We really have to do this again.
Yeah,
I mean, the hour wasn't enough. I think we need another hour. So.
Sure.
Next time we'll have a page that's printed out better.
There you go.
That's okay.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem. And so let's see, next week we have Pamela Nichols right here, 7 o'clock next Wednesday, the 27th on Meet the Author Live.
Bill Nelson said, great conversation. Thank you, Bill. Lonnie and Becca said, I love this show. Thank you. So much fun. And I think the yes to having another hour. I think so. Chris Christmas said, thanks for another great show. Lots of great information. It was chock full, and we really do need to have you all back for another hour because
that's for sure.
Because we didn't have enough time.
We didn't. So until next time.
That's all, folks.
Live every Wednesday, your Voice of Indie hosts Beam Weeks and Stephen Gees welcome authors, musicians, publishing industry pros, artists, and assorted creative guests for an exciting interactive hour. Call in during the show or post questions and comments on Twitter for responses in real time. Meet your favorite indie creators, learn inside tips, network, and promote your work. The link for each week's show is pinned on Twitter atop @VoiceOfIndie. And you can receive the link every Wednesday morning in your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter at freshinkgroup.com. Check out Voice of Indie every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio and catch hundreds of episodes archived everywhere from our websites to our YouTube channel and Spotify.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-DV.com.